This is the next video in the Historic Ordnance series. We're going to be looking at another former Yugoslavian landmine. What you're looking at is a TMRP-6 heavy, non-metallic, anti-tank mine. Now, these mines are officially only being used by the former Yugoslavian republics. But these mines have appeared in Ukraine. Russian sappers have found them up around the Donbass. They have taken pictures of them. The Russian government believes that the most likely source for those mines is probably Croatia, but they're not 100% certain. It could have been pilfered from a armory anywhere in the former Yugoslavia and then sold by an international arms dealer. But they're thinking it's probably the Croatian military funneled those mines through NATO into Ukraine. Now, technicals on this. These entered service sometime in the late 1970s, early 1980s. This is the result of a project between the Yugoslavian government and Sweden. And you will see things in here that you do see with other mines that the Swedes have had their hands in developing. I noticed that when I was going through looking at the pictures of it and some of the information on the internals and all that stuff. You can definitely see the influence. Now, the mine is made out of plastic, and reportedly it's not a very good plastic because even the militaries across the former Yugoslavia say that it has a service life in the field after it's emplaced of a max of 6 months. Past that, the plastic breaks down, and I do have pictures of that I will be showing you. Now, these mines are 5 1/4 inches in height. From the base of the mine to the top of the fuse. Diameter is 11.5 inches. Weight is 16 pounds, of which 11 1/4 pounds is the explosive filler. The explosive used in this is TNT. It does incorporate a tetral booster, which is located directly below the pressure plate at the bottom of the mine. This mine employs an EFP effect. There is a giant metal plate directly underneath the top plate here, and the explosive is behind that. Now, the fuse for this mine is the UTMRP-6, which is integral to the mine. It's this entire section up here. That is the fuse itself. It does not come off. Everything is already there. This mine reportedly is easily confused with the Czech PTMIU, which I looked at a couple pictures online, and they do look a lot alike. They have a similar rimmed upper plate here. The fusing is different. Temp range that these are employed is -14 degrees to a max of 122 degrees, and this is probably because of the plastic casing. These mines are packed 4 to a crate, and each crate contains 2 tilt rod assemblies for use with the mines. Why there's only 2 tilt rod assemblies in a crate of 4, I don't know, but that's how it was packaged. Activation for this mine, it can be set off by pressure, command detonated electrically. Reportedly, it can be used as an off-route mine, in which case it is set on its side because it is an EFP, can be fired into the side of the vehicle, and when it's in place in that configuration, you're supposed to use a tension release firing device. However, there is a note on the EOD stuff where I was finding some of this. They said it has never been encountered in that configuration ever. It is mentioned in the manual, that's how they're aware that it's supposed to be able to be employed, but it has never been found that way, so no one really knows how you're supposed to attach that booby trap fuse to the mine. If you're supposed to attach it through the hole in the center of the pressure plate here, which is where the tilt rod can be placed, or if you're supposed to attach it to the secondary fuse well, which is on the back of the mine. And as you can see here, this can be employed in the tilt rod mode. Now, in order to activate in pressure, it takes 330 pounds to a max of 793 pounds directly onto the pressure plate here to set it off. Tilt rod reportedly takes a movement of 30 degrees, and the amount of pressure it takes to move the tilt rod is as little as 3 pounds. Penetration capabilities is 40 millimeters of armor at approximately 2.5 feet. If it's employed against the side of a vehicle, it can still penetrate the side of an armored vehicle at up to 45 meters away, reportedly in testing. Now, I mentioned there is a secondary fuse well. The secondary fuse well is located directly below the fuse plate on the bottom, and it goes directly into the tetral booster. So here is pictures here. This is an upgraded version that's being deployed by the Serbian government now, the TMRP-6. And I have this showing here because it shows you the cutaway of the mine. Ignore the fuse plate on top, that's different. You see the explosive filler here, and this is the tetral base, and you can see down here at the bottom, that's the plug that the anti-handling device is put up into to set the mine off. Over here you can see a picture taken by Russian sappers in the Donbass of a TMRP-6 that they found that had been in the ground longer than 6 months. Exact amount of time it had been in the ground, unknown, but you can see what the results of winter are on the plastic of these mines. Now, these mines can be hand emplaced, mechanically emplaced by a mine layer, or they can be laid out using a mine chute, even being deployed by a mine chute from a helicopter. Maximum storage life on these, according to the Yugoslavians, is 15 years. Now, when these were first fielded, they were meant to be a one-time use. You put them out, leave them, destroy them when you don't need them. You do not recover them. However, they found during the Bosnian Civil War in the early 90s, these can be recovered and reused. Now, steps for employing this mine. And for this one, I think we'll show you pictures like this. First off, you're going to inspect for serviceability. You're going to make sure the mine is not degraded like this. It's not cracked up. No damages with the fusing that you can see. You don't have explosive filling out. You don't have water or any type of liquids coming out from any of the seams. Passes inspection. Send it up to the mine laying site. You will then move to the location where it's going to be emplaced. So this will be done either inside the mine layer or hand in place. But when you're at that location, if you are going to bury them, you're supposed to bury them up into about here. So you want it below the top of the ground, below the fuse plate here. That's as deep as it's supposed to go, because you're supposed to put soil over the top, a max of 2 to 3 centimeters of soil, but the fuse is supposed to be above the ground according to the instructions. So if you're going to put it in the ground, you get there, you dig a hole large enough for the mine to sit down inside. You then set it down in a hole. If it's being deployed on a mine layer or a mine chute, you'll be moving on to this next step right away. Now, in order to start the arming process, you're going to use an arming key, which is right here. And on top of the mine, you can see it right here. Also see it right here, there's a little plug. Remove that plug, put the arming key inside. There's 3 positions: safe, 1 minute, and 4 minutes. If this is going to be hand emplaced, you just turn it to the first position, which is 1 minute. If it's going to be deployed by a mine layer or a mine chute, you go to the final position, which is 4 minutes. At that point, you'll put the plug back on, if you can. Then you're going to remove the safety bar here. And it looks like this black plug in the center is part of the bar. So you're probably going to have to lift that up a little bit and then pull it away from the fuse. So it'll look like that after you removed the safety lever. At that point, just like on a Russian TM62 series, you're going to take your thumb and you're going to push down on that little arming button right there. You're going to push it in. That will begin the arming process. The mechanicals, the clockwork inside the fuse is going to start arming the mine. It is not fully armed yet though. After you've armed everything up on top, you have to remove the safety ring, which you can clearly see right here. Pull out the pin, spread it apart, remove it from around this section of the pressure plate. Then go through, camouflage the mine, and it's ready to go. It can be in the ground then for max up to 6 months or until that plastic starts to fall apart. Now to employ into pressure or into tilt rod, as you see down here. Similar steps, but there is one little change. First go through, inspect the mine, take it to the location where it's going to be emplaced. You will hand emplace it for doing the tilt rod. You can either surface lay it or bury it in the ground. If you surface lay it, you're going to put it in tall grass or brush so that the tilt rod will not be noticed. Put it in position. Remove the plug from the center of the mine. As you can see here, there's a plug underneath the safety lever. So you're going to move the safety lever to the side, which you can see in this picture here. They just shifted it over to clear the location for the tilt rod. Remove the plug from the inside of the pressure plate there. You are then going to install a spigot. If you can see down here, we got a sectional tilt rod. The bottom piece is essentially just a pipe. You're going to put that down into the pressure plate there. You are then going to insert the rest of the tilt rod into there, and you got that set. You then go through, set the fuse timer with the key to 1 minute. Put that cap back in place to prevent moisture from getting inside the mine. You will then remove the safety lever from around the arming button. You will then press the arming button into the pressure plate with your thumb till it's in position. You will then remove the safety ring from around the pressure plate and camouflage your mine. Now, as I said, officially by doctrine, these mines were not supposed to be recovered, but it can be done. And this appears to be the steps that they were using. First, locate the mine. Check for protective mines around it. It could be being protected by smaller blast type anti-personnel mines like a PMD-6, a Russian PMN or PMN-2, or Yugoslavian equivalents. No other mines are around it. Locate the exact position of the mine and uncover the top of the mine. You will then clear away any dirt that may be inside the collar here, and you're going to reinstall the safety ring and put the pin back into position. At this point, you will remove the long section of tilt rod if it had been emplaced by tilt rod. You will then inspect for anti-handling devices. Check around the sides and underneath. This is a plastic case mine. It would not be hard for someone to drill a hole in the side and put an anti-handling device in the side. They could also put it in a location other than the secondary fuse wall directly below the pressure plate. So make sure to check all the way underneath and all the way around the sides without disturbing the mine. I did a video on that one. After you have found there are no anti-handling devices, you will then remove the plug over the fuse timer. You will insert the arming key and you will turn it back to the safe position. Once it's in the safe position, you will put that plug back in place. The arming button will pop back up. You will then reinstall the safety lever underneath the arming button and then locking it into position over the center of the pressure plate. Obviously, if this wasn't placed with tilt rod before you can move the safety lever into final position to lock in place, that's when you're going to remove the spigot section from the mine. At that point, you will pull the mine from the hole or from its location using a rope, just in case there is an anti-handling device that you're not aware of. Give it 30 seconds. If it does not detonate, move forward, pick up the mine, pick up the tilt rod sections, and turn them in for reuse as needed. Now, if you're going to destroy them in place, such as you found an anti-handling device, it's recommended put the charge over the outer ring of the mine here, over the top of where the ribs are, so that it'll blow downward into the TNT filler here to destroy the mine. There you go. That's all the information I could find from EOD, from demining sources, and also a little bit of information from the Russian military, from the ones that they have been coming across inside Ukraine. Simple mine. It is being upgraded. There's at least 2 versions I came across that are being worked on. The TMRP-6E by Serbia, and then I came across one referred to as the TMRP-6D or the TMRP-6E or V, which is being produced by, or at least tested by, Croatia at this time also. Unknown what major changes are going to be done. It is known that the 6E being made by Serbia, or will be fielded by Serbia, is going to have a electronics internal on the fuse, and it is going to have a self-destruct or self-neutralizing mechanism in there to destroy the mine after it reaches the set period of time, doing that in order to conform to the Ottawa Landmine Treaty. So there you go. Easy mine. Pretty crude overall, but it's still effective. There are plenty of pictures of these mines getting some pretty catastrophic kills on T-72 variants back in the 90s. Now, for all my engineer brothers in the Patriot and militia movements, always remember, essayons.